Hello, and welcome to Episode 5 of our Moms for Liberty Hamilton County, Tennessee podcast. I'm your host, Tanya, and I'm here with Rebecca, and we are here for the kids. Thanks for joining us again. Today we will be discussing specific lesson plans from the SAVVAS curriculum that the Hamilton County school system uses, and some communication between our founding board members, school administrators, and the school board. Our hope is that you will listen to the information provided and it will encourage you to get engaged in local politics. The information that we will cover today is directly related to your property tax dollars. Hamilton County property owners fund the school system. Please listen with an open mind and ask yourself, is this how you want your tax dollars spent? In our last episode, we discussed the EL education curriculum that is currently being used in Hamilton County, Tennessee schools. Breaking news, just this week, a South Carolina school district ended their contract with EL Education Company after the Carolina Freedom Caucus sued because the publisher has been accused of developing CRT materials. The settlement in the Lexington Court of Common Pleas requires the Lexington District, which contains 31 schools and more than 28,000 students, to fully comply with all South Carolina laws prohibiting CRT instruction and training for students, teachers, and other staff. Since teaching CRT would fall under the Prohibited Concepts Law in Tennessee, it is concerning that Hamilton County, Tennessee schools are still using this curriculum. We are going to talk about some high school curriculum now. The previous board only had the 9th grade book and no teacher manuals. If you know anyone that has one of their student books from a prior year, we would love to have it. Also, teachers, you know what I say about anonymity. It is important to me because I personally know what it is like to be harassed by an administrator. If you share any documents with us, I'll make sure your name is kept anonymous. You know how to contact me and get these materials to me so that we can review them. Rebecca, will you please tell us about the SAVVAS English Language Arts curriculum that is used for grades 6th through 12th grade?
As we discussed in a previous podcast, the Moms for Liberty Board requested information via an open records request or a FOIA request with the school system and was informed that the Hamilton County, Tennessee school system is currently using SAVVAS, SAVVAS, as their ELA curriculum or English Language Arts for grades 6 through 12. This is an example of a lesson that's given to 9th graders. So it's grade 9, unit 1, and the lesson is called What It Means to Be an American. Think for just a moment what it means to be an American for you. Then we will read this excerpt from the lesson and see if it aligns with what we were taught in school and what it means to be an American to us. Okay, I'm going to read an excerpt from a story that's part of this lesson plan. It's called A Quilt of a Country by Anna Quindlen. We found this on page 14 and 15 of the information that was provided by Hamilton County Schools. Out of many, one. This is the ideal. The reality is often quite different. A great national striving consisting frequently of failure. Many of the oft-told stories of the most pluralistic nation on earth are stories not of tolerance, but of bigotry, slavery and sweatshops, the burning of crosses, and the ostracism of the other. Children learn in social studies class and in the news of the lynching of blacks, the denial of rights to women, the murders of gay men. It is difficult to know how to convince them that this amounts to crown thy good with brotherhood. that amid all the failures is something spectacularly successful. What is the point of this splintered whole? What is the point of a nation in which Arab cabbies chauffeur Jewish passengers through the streets of New York, and in which Jewish cabbies chauffeur Arab passengers too, and yet speak in a theory of hatred, one for the other? What is the point of a nation in which one part seems to be always on the verge of fisticuffs with the other, blacks and whites, gays and straights, left and right, Pole and Chinese and Puerto Rican and Slovenian? Other countries with such divisions have in fact divided into new nations with new names, but not this one, impossibly interwoven even in its hostilities. Okay, so for me, that passage does not describe the America that I was taught in school. And it doesn't describe to me what it means to be an American. Those things may be true, but that passage is not a description of what it means to be an American. Also, just a footnote, there was an explanation in this lesson plan of what a WASP is, WASP, and they say that it is short for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which typically refers to a member of the dominant and most privileged class of people in the United States.
Rebecca, wow. So this is just a small excerpt of the 9th grade ELA book. Can you imagine what the rest might be like? Our country, where people have traveled from all over the earth to find freedom in our country like no other, they are specifically saying that it should be like these other countries where these people have been fleeing from. What in the world? No wonder there is so much division in America today. This is definitely not what we were taught growing up about America. And I promise that what kids are being taught about our country is shaping our future in this nation. I will also add that students are encouraged to go home and challenge their parents on their own beliefs and play on their emotions to get them to feel hatred toward America also. Just look around. It is playing out before our very eyes. Of note, the Hamilton County School Board recently approved a math curriculum from SAVVAS. Wonder if they will teach how racist math is.
Speaking of crazy, I didn't like maths much at school. I thought it was boring, but today I learned that my dislike for maths was because maths is actually racist. Yep, you heard that right. The California State Education Panel thinks 2 + 2 = 4 is inequitable and no longer wants to make getting the right answer the main objective of mathematics. You see, it's all because there is a history of underrepresentation of black, Hispanic and Indigenous people in mathematics and mathematic-related domains. This all stemmed from a manual that was penned by these Californian educationalists. They claimed teaching methods were racist and they needed to be overhauled so that non-white pupils could, and I quote, reclaim their mathematical ancestry. Seriously, you couldn't make this stuff up.
This is a note from the previous Hamilton County, Tennessee Moms for Liberty Board about communicating with the Hamilton County School District and the school board. When we have approached various officials about this, they point fingers at each other. The school board says to talk to the district. The district says talk to the school board and the state. The state says talk to the school board. The school board says they have no authority, but 4.403 policy says the board has final authority. I think this is where the comment needs to be made that the school board is the superintendent's boss. They don't just hire the superintendent. They can also fire the superintendent. Just putting that out there. The textbook contract, April 2019, has Joe Wingate's signature on it. So the board clearly has some authority. We have followed the 4.403 policy for several books, so we could say we followed the process. No remedy provided. If this was 1 or 2 books, 4.403 would be appropriate. But this is widespread issue of lack of oversight and a standard in place for material our kids are exposed to via supplemental materials, recommended reading, libraries, and so on. Rebecca, please continue telling everyone about the communication between Hamilton County School System and Moms for Liberty.
Part of the information that we will be providing today will be details on the administrators and board members who are currently employed by the school system or elected to the school board. These are the people who communicated with Moms for Liberty back in 2021 regarding their concerns about the curriculum. One documented communication is between Moms for Liberty Chair Brandy Howard and Neely Parker. According to Neely's LinkedIn, she was an elementary teacher from 1997 to 2002. She was the Benwood Assistant Principal at Calvin Donaldson from 2002 to 2004. She was then the Benwood Executive Turnaround Principal at East Lake Elementary from 2004 to 2009. She was the principal of Big Ridge Elementary from 2009 to 2015. She was promoted to Director of Elementary Schools in 2015 and held that position until 2017. In 2017, she became the Community Superintendent for the North River Learning Community. And in 2019, she was promoted to Chief of Schools. Finally, in 2022, she became the Chief of Opportunity and Access for Hamilton County Department of Education. In her current position, her role as Chief of Opportunity and Access for Hamilton County Schools oversees efforts across the district to make sure all children, especially those who are underserved, are provided the services, supports, opportunities, and access needed for them to thrive and reach their full potential. In 2021, when Neely was still the Chief of Schools, school board member Joe Wingate had a conversation with Brandy Howard, and he suggested that Brandy reach out to Neely about the curriculum. I will read the email correspondence between Brandy and Neely. Brandy sent an email to Neely on September 16th, 2021. Subject was meeting request. And she said, "Good morning. Joe Wingate recommended we meet with you to discuss our concerns about curriculum and recommended reading materials. We would also like to better understand how the selection process works. When would be a good time for you? Thank you, Brandy Howard, Chapter Chair, Moms for Liberty." 11 days later, Neely Parker responded on September 27th. And she said, "Ms. Howard, thank you for your inquiry about the process. I want to share with you the best place to start because it's where we have to start at any time we are in an adoption cycle. The state is the author of the process for local districts to follow, and at any time we are in a curriculum adoption cycle, this is the place where we start. As agents of the state, we must follow the state law," and she provided a link in the email, "the state board policy, and we are required to uphold the stipulations of the process. Each item on the left side of the state website sequentially lays out from the start, the state, to the finish, local, and I recommend that you start at the top and click through in order to get the flow. At the local level, I attached references to our board policy. I included the request for reconsideration of instructional materials if you have any specific materials you would like us to review. Thank you again for your inquiry, Neely Parker."
So Neely didn't want to meet with Brandy. It's about time to actually have a sit down with all of these people and get responses from them. It is frustrating to go to school board meetings, speak on issues of concern, and get no response back. They continue to do whatever they want, and I know that the majority of people who find out what is being taught in the public school system will say they don't agree with these topics at the ages they are being taught. Teachers are leaving in droves, and one of the reasons is because they are forced by Tennessee Department of Education and Hamilton County Schools to go against their moral compass. Another reason they are leaving is because student behavior is out of control. The district is forcing teachers to use restorative justice practices and social emotional learning. These concepts are part of the critical theory framework, and they do not hold students accountable for their behavior. Additionally, we have multiple examples of how schools do not hold students to the code of ethical behavior. Is there a link between what is being taught in the curriculum, divisive and depressive content, and how much violence is happening in the schools? By the time these kids are in middle and high school, if they are not already political activists, they are definitely categorized in a victimized group. The students have been trained to identify as victims, and they are taught that the marginalized group that they are part of has been victimized as a whole. Through this literature, schools are no longer encouraging students to be individuals. It is clear what the agenda is with these kids. Again, it is heartbreaking to me. After I resigned last spring, it took over 8 months before I could go a day without crying because of what I know. Leaving the kids behind was the hardest decision I ever made. But if I hadn't, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. Rebecca, will you please continue about the communication between Moms for Liberty and the school district and school board?
Let's look at some of the teacher trainings and the conversation between Brandy and Tiffany, another school board member, discussing that training. So back in 2021, a citizen contacted Moms for Liberty to let them know that there was a teacher training being given at Howard that was called Unlearn Everything and Live, Racial Equity Training at Howard. So I'm going to go over the flyer that was sent to Moms for Liberty about this training. At the top, it says, helping you rethink how you achieve success. And the training was given by L.J. Ewing. There's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. And then as you go along the flyer, it explains that the expected outcomes of participating communities should understand that they are beginning a long and complex journey, but one of deep societal transformation that promises rich personal and community rewards. These rewards may include economic growth, political stability, tranquility, pride, and a sense of common humanity as the community approaches its destination, the elimination of the myth of a hierarchy of human value. Each community is different and must recognize its uniqueness, both its unique assets and challenges as it begins its journey. Communities that engage in the Unlearn Everything and Live process will lead the charge to help all people recognize one another's humanity and value. And then if you just go down a little bit on the flyer, it says that in order to create sustainable change, Unlearn Everything and Live Racial Equity session will focus on eliminating the belief in a racial hierarchy from which behaviors, structures, laws, and public policies have been created. Be inclusive of all racial and ethnic communities in America, and then it lists some ethnicities. Be implemented throughout public, private, nonprofit, academic, and faith-based sectors. Recognize the interconnectedness and need for both racial healing and racial equity, and create a local infrastructure that sustains healing and advances structural change efforts. And then if you go to the second page, it says, the sessions are designed in a progressive way, and an integral component of the experience is the shared discussions participants have with fellow organizational team members. Although it is possible to participate in just 1 or 2 sessions, they recommended that the teams take all 7 sessions in succession in order that they receive the full benefit of the format. And this flyer is available on our website if you want to look at it and check it out some more. Okay, so then after Brandy found out about this training, she sent an email to the board on August the 9th, 2021, and just let them know that it had been brought to her attention that Hamilton County Schools had hired L.J. Ewing to provide a training called Unlearn Everything and Live. The session was also provided in July, so this would have been the second learning that the Hamilton County School System had given. And she bullet pointed that the training includes dismantling the manifestations of systems of oppression within our organizations, understanding of the system of racial inequality in the context of the United States and the impact it has at the interpersonal, institutional, and structural levels, and facilitating learning and unlearning sessions on the system of racial inequality of organizational teams. And then she went on to say the concepts taught in this training appear to be in violation of the following items in Tennessee's recently passed HB.580 SB 620. Number 8, this state or the United States is fundamentally or irredeemably racist or sexist. And number 11, ascribing character traits, values, moral or ethical codes, privileges, or beliefs to a race or sex or to an individual because of the individual's race or sex. And then she just requested that the training be canceled or replaced immediately. In response to that email, Tiffany Robinson, she is the Hamilton County School Board member for District 4, responded to Brandy. And she said, Brandy, I think the session you're referring to is taking place at Howard Connect, and Principal Miller is who hired Mrs. Ewing. From what I understand, the topics Mrs. Ewing will cover are diversity in America and an inclusive approach to education. Neither of these topics violate the state law you mentioned. I have also included Principal Miller in this email in case you would like to discuss further. And then Tiffany went on to caution Brandy. She said, I also caution you from making accusations of violations of state law without all correct information in hand. Hamilton County Schools in no way promotes the various interpretations of critical race theory or in any way encourages violating state law. To make such an accusation is a tall order and does nothing but insult educators throughout our district that work hard for Hamilton County students day in and day out. Thank you, Tiffany. I wonder how many of those educators are part of the 400 plus educators that have resigned from Hamilton County, Tennessee in the last 2 years. Where did they all go?
Well, Rebecca, I have the same question. I'm wondering where they all went to. I know they're out there and they have a lot to say. So today's episode, how is that for some flame fanning? That's what we do in Moms for Liberty. Research for this podcast has reiterated the need to continue in our work. We need to continue to tell the truth about what is going on in the public school system. I know there are people who are still in the system. They are dealing with this every day and may be afraid to speak up about what they are dealing with. I get messages from parents, teachers, counselors telling me, thank you for what I am doing. This work can be heavy, but someone has to do it. We need to link arms in this fight because we are fighting for the children. They are our most precious asset. Their innocence is being taken away. Parents, please talk to your children. If you do not have children in Hamilton County, Tennessee schools, ask your friends who have children in this system if they are seeing these types of issues with their child's assignments. Remember, one lesson can leave an impression for a lifetime. And finally, get your child's textbook and read it. If the school is not sending it home with your child, request a copy. It is your right as a parent to know what they are being taught while at school. Remember, your child's textbook is not going to have teacher prompts in it. You can visit our website and go to the Hamilton County School curriculum page, and links are provided there for this material. So as you can see, Moms for Liberty has uncovered quite a bit of controversial material in our school system since this Moms for Liberty chapter's inception. There truly is so much more research that has been done. And again, we ask you to do your own research about what we have discussed. The links to all of the resources that we have discussed are on our website. and we hope that you will take advantage of the resources we have made available to you. We are committed to bringing you up-to-date information regarding the students in Hamilton County, Tennessee. Next steps, stay tuned for our next podcast. Thank you for joining us. Please go to Rumble and find M4L Hamilton TN, click follow and turn on notifications. Also, go to YouTube at Moms for Liberty Chattanooga and click on subscribe and turn on the notification. You can also visit our website and social media to connect with us. Those links will be in the description. This is Tanya and Rebecca signing off until the next episode. We are here for the kids. We will see you next time.